How you doing, guys? Today, following up with you in reference to my last video where I had said that the engine issues had been rectified, and a couple people asked, hey, you didn't say what was wrong with it, and it's a very good question. I apologize. For some reason, I have a really bad head cold starting, I guess, today. So if you hear me sniffle and sneeze, I apologize. So basically what had happened when it came to the RPMs and the surge of the motor, it ended up being pretty simple. I got lucky in the sense that when I put the governor arm, or tied the governor arm to the governor arm to the shaft, I should say, sorry, my head is so plugged up. I mustn't have tied or tightened this bolt down enough, and it was loose. So it eventually slipped on the shaft and caused the governor to basically be useless. Now, it was working to a point. It wasn't like it had no governor, but it definitely, the governor wasn't kicking in enough to slow the motor down, and it would just go right through the ceiling. But that is what was the issue. The governor arm wasn't tight enough on the governor shaft. And what I did to kind of make sure that this doesn't happen again, and I'm hoping I can get it to focus in there. There it is. All right. You can just see the smallest little tit of red paint right here. It's also on the shaft. I actually set it to where I wanted it, and then when I tightened it down, started up the engine, made sure everything worked, I took a little red paint and I just went down the arm and a little bit on the shaft. So that way I can monitor to see if it slips again. A little bit of black, which is right here, that's a Sharpie marker. That's the stock setting. So you can see I'm just inside the stock setting with the red. So I'm going to control the RPM for a while before I put it on full send. So with that being said, I'm going to monitor it, make sure that it doesn't slip around on me. It runs real smooth. It doesn't go through the roof. It idles fairly nice. It kind of idles like a Harley Davidson, which is kind of cool. There's kind of like a little bit of a hiccup in it, but it's like a natural hiccup. It doesn't sound like it's stumbling, and it's actually sounds awesome at idle. The only thing that's kind of weird about idle is the actual idle screw is basically closed. So it is drawing fuel off the main jet. Now, this carburetor is one of those pulling carburetors off of eBay. If you put Kohler Puller carb, there's a series of these carbs that come up. They're $139 plus some shipping. It's bored out to just a hair under 1 inch. It's supposed to be recalibrated and all this other stuff. It's actually a really nice carburetor. It does make the engine run real nice. And with the port job that I did and unshrouding of the valves, this carburetor works really nice. It's just a little bit weird that you basically are not running it on the idle circuit. There must be so much air flowed through the carburetor that it needs more fuel, or how the hell would that be? I have no idea, to be honest. My mind is plugged up. If you can explain it to me, because I can't explain it to you right this second, go ahead and put it in the comments. But essentially, the idle mixture screw is, it's just barely cracked off the seat. And it idles pretty nice, and it sounds really good. And I'll have a video of this thing running very shortly. The other thing is the wiring for the tachometer and the rest of the tractor, I should say, is completed. I went to the AutoZone and I bought a 1 amp fuse. I actually had to end up buying one of these packets of like low amperage fuses just to get the one amp fuse, which is pathetic. So I ended up spending like $4.50 for this one fuse. But it's in, and everything is wired up. You can see I have that's the main 12 volt source wire, which goes through the panel here and then into the wiring harness, which I have behind this wire loom, the plastic wire loom. And that was the hardest part of the whole project, was just taking all the old wire loom off, fishing the wire through. in the harness, up and under. You really can't see. Oh, you can see the top half of the harness. It's right there. This red wire is actually. Oops, sorry. This red wire is actually for the fuel pump, so that it isn't part of the harness in itself. Comes up, and then we have the spaghetti wiring mess back here. And the reason for that is there's just so many wires. There's so many more wires than what would have been stock. Number one, the original ignition switch was only a 3-prong ignition switch. This is a 5-prong because I have the Magnum motor with the magneto and the stator. So I got like, what, 2 extra wires for that. Plus my switches for my fuel pump and my lights, okay, that in itself has 3 wires each, so there's 6 wires. There's a ground, there's the power wire to the switch, and then a load. Because of the little LEDs on the switches themselves, they need to be fed, so that means the switch itself needs to be grounded. So there's basically 6 more wires than what this tractor would have had stock. Then you add the 4 wires for the tachometer in itself. So now you have what? 6, 4, 10, plus 2 more. 2 more. So you have 12 more wires behind the gas tank than what would originally have been on this tractor. So the spaghetti look is here to stay. There's not much I can do about it. But once you put the gas tank in and close the hood, you're never going to see it. I did keep my little blue tape with all the, like what it is. Like this is this one here. That the white wire is the rectifier. So the tape says rectifier. Down there is the magneto wire. Just so I can keep it straight. Now, the tack is all wired in. I'm hoping this will focus. There it goes. And I'll show you I'll show you how the electric circuits are set up. Number one, when I go to accessory, 2 things happen. Well, actually 1 thing happens. The accessory wire sends power to my relay. The relay then clicks, and then that in turn turns the fuse panel on. When the fuse panel turns on, 12-volt power goes directly to the tack. So you're going to see the needle bounce when I do that. And then it sets itself to 0. So it's ready to go. It's ready and waiting. This switch right here is my light switch. And then when I go up, you can see the blue LED light comes on. You can just make out the light in the tack is on. I have my red LED lights underneath the seat pan, so it glows on the hitch itself. It doesn't, you can't see them. They're underneath the seat pan, so you can see that I have that. And I know you're just dying to see this, right? Wrong. My LEDs in my headlights are on. You can just barely see them, but at night the whole light glows red. So it looks pretty cool. So we'll turn those off. So that circuit works. And there's a 20, I think there's a, what is it, 20 amp fuse or a 15? I have a 20 in that. All right, so basically the 5 is for the fuel pump, the 20 is for the lights. I have a 15 for the cigarette lighter, and then the 1 for the tack. And when I go ahead and click the fuel pump on, you'll hear it click on. I'm not going to leave it on for very long, but and the light comes on. So there that is. Now if I go to the start circuit, I'm not going to do it yet. Obviously that bangs the starter, so it kicks the motor over, and then my old generator light turns on and turns off when the starter is engaged, and when it stops engaging, the light goes back off. So that's that. Woo! Another chock full video of mildly amusing entertainment, right? All right, guys. So there you go. Thank you so much for all your comments. I truly appreciate them all. And if you have any questions, concerns, or you just want to talk about it, or talk about anything for that matter, by all means, let me know. Oh, a couple people asked me about the meet and greet that I mentioned before. If you go to wheelhorseforum.com, wheelhorseforum.com, all the specifics about the meet and greet are there. You can actually contact the individual that is holding the meet and greet and ask them questions on whether or not everybody's usually invited. So it's not like I'm saying you need to get invited. But if you have any questions for that individual, you can contact them through wheelhorseforum.com. All right, guys, thank you very much. Again, I appreciate all your interest. If you would like to please thumbs up the video as I indicated before, that would be greatly appreciated. And I will talk to you soon. All right, guys, later.